Well, I think there are options not just in terms of what how India should approach the U.S., but beyond that. I think that India has been pursuing trade talks with the EU for quite some time, trying to reach a deal by the end of the year. I think in the immediate term, India needs to try to shield itself from the potentially damaging impacts that the tariffs could have. The first 25% tariff will be going into effect the next few days, and then the other one, the penalty for the Russian oil imports, is scheduled to go into effect I believe in about 2 weeks or so. Or several weeks from now. So, in that sense, it needs to find access to more markets. It needs to increase its market access. And if it's able to get a deal with the EU, if it knows it's going to be getting a deal with the EU in the next few months, that would be a big help for sure. But in terms of its approach to the US, it needs to find a way to create the incentive to get back to the negotiating table with the United States. And it may take a few days, but you need to start somewhere. They are very close, right? They were very close to getting a deal. And even though India might not be willing to make that final concession that the Trump administration had expected, perhaps there are other areas that they could look at. But you don't know until you start talking again. Finally, the point I would make here is that I think India now has one more reason among many to hope that the war in Ukraine, if it doesn't end, at least has a pause. Because I think that Trump would not go after India as much on the Russian oil imports thing if Russia were no longer fighting the war. He clearly wants the war to end. He wants to take credit for that. He's angry that Putin is not listening to him. So if that war winds down, which I sadly don't think will happen